Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal number BB40058 US15. This is a swing clear hinge is what it is. Looks rather unusual, and it does not match the drawing per se, or the cut sheet, in the fact that this is at such an angle. But these hinges are used really in residential applications where you are almost always with a casing, like a ranch type casing, where you have, or a colonial casing, where you literally are going to have added material out here. You know, so if the jam is going to stop short somewhere in this range or in this area, okay, you need to have some relief on that hinge, which is why I imagine they make them this way and then deviate from the manufacturer's published data. Being a swing clear hinge, you're going to be able to use this hinge with great effect to be able to take the door and move it out of the opening. And what does that mean? Imagine in your mind's eye that you have just a regular door. And when you open that door to 90 degrees, based on the vertical axis of pivot where the hinge pin is, and based on the thickness of the door, when you rotate that door out of place, the heel edge of the door is still intruding into the open, clear opening space of the doorway. If you can take that door and swing it out to 180 degrees, it doesn't really matter because it's out. But when you have an application where you must achieve a specific minimum opening, like for ADA requirement of 34 inch, or you aren't mandated by code to do it, but you may be in a wheelchair, you may have someone in your household who is handicapped, and very often we sell these hinges to just people who live in a condo, but they're wheelchair bound, and getting the door to click out open to 90 degree, but the door is no longer intruding or encroaching into the clear space, is crucial, because you need, in situations like that, which are real, people live in homes, condos, ranch style homes, but are wheelchair bound or have a child or a parent who's wheelchair bound, you need every spare eighth of an inch to make the openings usable for the person in the wheelchair. So the standard hinge would have its vertical axis of pivot right about here. But when you shoot it off or move it off out of the opening like that, if you imagine that this leaf would just rotate and pivot out, your door is still going to be hanging in. But imagine when we've got the door here and the door gets open to 90 degree, that door literally gets moved out of the opening, so that when you open the door to 90 degree and look against the hinge side and line your eyesight up with the stop of the frame, you'll see that the door is basically all the way moved out of the opening, because the distance from the vertical axis of pivoting to the pull side face of the door is so shifted over that it literally shifts the door over and out of the way as it gets open to 90 degree. And that's the purpose of a swing clear hinge. You will always see these in hospitals, always. You will always see them in those applications where ADA is mandated for a clear opening space. Nursing homes. Again, private residences where people need the functionality of the hardware. I've seen swing clear hinges installed in applications where it wasn't ADA required, or there wasn't a person that was handicapped using the opening, but it was because the grocery store needed to swing that little half door out so far so that they could physically push the shopping carts back into the building. So whatever the point is of having to shift that vertical axis of pivot over is why you're going to use this hinge. Okay, so that's the purpose of a wide throat. The fact that they've got that heavy angle on it, again, I think it's just for casing. And yes, it's going to project off the opening. It's going to project off of the face of the wall a bit, but that's how Cal Royal manufactures this hinge. Now, BB, let's dissect the part number. BB stands for ball bearing. This is a 5-knuckle hinge with ball bearings. Okay, it is 4.5 inch. Pardon me, is 4 inch tall, and they really don't give a dimension of width on a swing clear hinge, and it is considered standard weight. And because it's 4 inch, that means it's going to be 130 thousandths of an inch leaf thickness. So just heavy on 1/8 of an inch. The caliper says 0.126. 0.126 is what it actually measures. Now, what makes this hinge also unusual, and certainly for residential applications, this door could be the front door of a home. This could be the access way for a handicapped individual to gain access, or you just want a clear opening. It has a 5/8 radius on it as part of this part number, and that's going to certainly be a wood frame where you have the manufacturer of the door and frame have used an 1.25 inch diameter bit when they are mortising the door and frame. That leaves a 5/8 radius. People that are purchasing hinges like this are certainly going to look for a 5/8 radius because that's what they're matching. You can do a square corner swing clear hinge, but the average homeowner sees a round corner and says, "Oh, that's what I have to have." You could take a hammer and chisel and square those corners off, and we can sell you an otherwise square corner hinge. But if 5/8 is available, why go through the extra work? And there it is, 5/8 radius. Okay. Now, the minimum clearance required, dimension A, is 2 1/8. Let's take a look at what they mean, dimension A. Oh, I see. Okay. So dimension A is literally going to be the point from the, looking at it the way it's shown in the picture, dimension A will be from the rabbet of the frame all the way to any wall that would be perpendicular. So from the rabbet of the frame to any wall condition, you could literally have a bathroom, but the 90-degree perpendicular wall is tight on the hinge jamb, so much so that it even prevents this from being installed. So dimension A is listed in an image down below this video showing that. This is a full mortise hinge, meaning that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame so you can maintain a uniform margin between the door and frame. You can't really tell from, although you can't really tell from hinge swag on this type of hinge because of how it is, but what makes it full mortise is the swag, which is literally the bend in the hinge leaf from the barrel to the leaf itself. Now, if that was all flat and flush, it'd be a full surface hinge. Not that that really matters, but anyway. We talked about it being 5-knuckle. It's going to include screws. Let's see what screws they have. Hopefully they're all wood and half machine. It appears that you get all wood screws and all machine screws if you happen to have a steel frame, which is not completely unheard of. This would be considered a template or standard pattern for a 4-inch hinge. Doesn't mean that's what you have. When it comes to 4-inch hinges, there could be a lot of different hinge patterns, but these locations are specific for a 4-inch hinge, and they're called those locations are called template. I will endeavor to find a document and add it to the extended description showing those hinge locations. This hinge is made of steel and is in a US15, better known as 646 finish, also known as satin nickel. Okay, that's the color on this hinge. Cal Royal products, their logo is there. Cal Royal, I would like for them to use a smaller logo. I get it. You don't need such a huge logo. I find some manufacturers so heavily put their logo on everything that it just really takes away from it. There is a link below this video to a document called Product Page, which will give you an overview of the hinge. Used in hospitals or other institutional type buildings. Swings door completely clear of the opening when the door is opened at 95 degree. Swing clear hinges are designed so that when the door is opened to 90, the door itself is completely removed out of the opening. 2 ball bearings are recommended for average frequency doors, while 4 ball bearings for high frequency. I'm sure that they don't even make a 4 ball bearing swing clear hinge. Cal Royal certainly does not in a 4-inch with a 5/8 radius. That would be a heavyweight hinge. It'd be a 80 thousandths of an inch leaf thickness. So it's a relatively generic cut sheet is really what it is. They give description of the base material, which this is steel, etc. So that wraps up everything as it relates to swing clear hinges. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Now, I'm a fan of Cal Royal for several reasons. Number one is they're basically no nonsense. You send them a purchase order, they ship. It's that simple. They do have a minimum order, which is indicated in the website, so if you need something small, we may have to put it onto our weekly or bi-weekly stock order and have it come to us first before we can ship it to you. But their material is very good. The value is exceptional. Their people are knowledgeable, and would recommend that you consider them for hardware for your application. Any questions on the Cal Royal BB40058 in a US15 finish, or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.